Scene opens with archival footage of Boston in the early 1960s, transitioning to newspaper headlines about the murders. Between June 1962 and January 1964, a wave of terror swept through Boston. 13 single women, ranging in age from 19 to 85, were found murdered in their own apartments. The city was gripped by fear, locking its doors and looking over its shoulder. The media dubbed the unknown assailant the Phantom Fiend, and later, the Boston Strangler. Who was this person, and how did they manage to evade capture for so long? Let's dive into one of America's most chilling and complex true crime cases. The attacks were shockingly brazen. The killer would somehow gain entry to the women's homes, often without any signs of forced entry. This led investigators to believe he was a repairman, a delivery person, or someone who could talk his way inside. The victims were assaulted and then strangled, usually with an item of their own clothing, like a pair of nylon stockings, which were often left tied in a distinctive bow. The crime scenes were unsettlingly tidy, with little physical evidence left behind. The sheer scale of the investigation was immense. Law enforcement agencies from multiple cities were involved, creating a massive task force. They interviewed thousands of potential suspects and followed countless leads. The public was on high alert, and a sense of paranoia permeated daily life. Despite the intense effort, the police struggled to connect the dots. The victims were diverse in age and background, and the lack of a clear motive made profiling the killer incredibly difficult. The pressure to find an answer was mounting with every headline. Then, a man named Albert DeSalvo entered the picture. Initially arrested for a separate series of assaults known as the Green Man attacks, DeSalvo was a petty criminal with a history of breaking and entering. While in custody, he started talking. He confessed in astonishing and graphic detail to being the Boston Strangler. He knew specifics about the crime scenes that hadn't been released to the public, convincing many investigators that they had their man. His confession was a bombshell that seemed to close the book on the city's nightmare. However, the story doesn't end there. DeSalvo was never actually tried for the Strangler murders. There was no physical evidence directly linking him to the crimes. Instead, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the Green Man assaults. Many people, including some investigators and family members of the victims, doubted his confession. Was he a pathological liar seeking notoriety, or was he covering for someone else? The debate raged for decades. DeSalvo himself later recanted his confession before he was stabbed to death in prison in 1973, adding another layer of mystery to the case. For nearly 50 years, the question lingered. Then, in 2013, a breakthrough. Using advanced DNA technology, investigators were able to link genetic material found on the body of the last victim, Mary Sullivan, to Albert DeSalvo. Semen evidence preserved from the 1964 crime scene was a near-perfect match to DNA taken from DeSalvo's nephew. To confirm it, authorities exhumed DeSalvo's body, and the test was definitive. The DNA proved, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Albert DeSalvo had assaulted Mary Sullivan. While this finally connected DeSalvo to at least one of the 13 murders, some questions still remain. Did he act alone? Was he responsible for all 13 deaths? The DNA evidence only ties him to one. The Boston Strangler case serves as a powerful reminder of how forensic science can solve decades-old mysteries, but it also shows that sometimes, even with a confession and DNA, the complete truth can remain just out of reach. Thanks for watching. This case is a complex and dark chapter in history. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you in the next video.